If you want to see the most scenic view of Loch Ness, then you have to head to Urquhart Castle on the western shore. It's a stunning location with the loch as its backdrop. In this video, we'll take you on a tour of the castle and show you some of its historic past. You can get direct services by bus to the castle from Inverness bus station. A day return will set you back about £15. It's a 40-minute trip along the lovely western shore. If you're driving yourself, then you can stop at various points to walk down onto the loch itself, as we did.
So behind me is Loch Ness, a site I have never seen in my life, so very excited to be here just outside Inverness. It is really windy and there is a real sort of tidal wave coming across the loch. And we'll be on that tomorrow. We're going on a boat trip, which we'll show you later in the video.
It's highly recommended to arrive early at the castle as it's a popular attraction with day trippers and tours. You can find out all the information on booking and latest pricing on this website. Due to COVID, not all areas were open. We couldn't see the exhibition of the interesting artifacts and the welcome video before you walk down to the castle. We get our first glimpse of the castle sited on Strone Point, surrounded by water on three sides, offering good natural defences, although it can be seen from higher ground. The foundations were laid around 1230 by the Durward family, installed by Alexander II to assert his authority in the Highlands. It saw action that same century when Edward I of England captured it with his invading army. At the bottom of the hill is a Trebuchet. This is a modern reconstruction of the sort of warfare device that could shoot boulders into the walls of the castle. This one in fact does work, and they tested it, firing a boulder 200 yards at 126 miles an hour. Not at the castle, of course. Before you head in through the Gatehouse, take a stroll down to the loch edge for wonderful views heading back north towards Inverness. Loch Ness is the second largest Scottish loch by surface area after Loch Lomond, and due to its great depth, it's the largest by volume in the British Isles. You can see how much calmer the water is down here compared to earlier in the video. Some believe that from a distance, the large wave ripples made by the boats that can run for miles after the boat has disappeared is what people see from the shore, believing that to be the Loch Ness Monster. Well, that's just one theory anyway. We didn't see any monsters on our trip. Walking back to the castle, you pass a stone pit dug into the ground. This was a furnace. Its purpose was unknown, used in the later years of the castle's history. From here you can get a good look at the ditch cut from solid rock to help defend the castle from attack on its land side. The causeway connected to the castle still exists, with a fixed bridge that would have been a drawbridge back in the day. The Gatehouse controlled entry to the castle and had lodgings for the constable, including a small prison. If the lord was away, the constable controlled day-to-day running and who was allowed in and out. It would have been heavily protected with a portcullis. In the 1500s, an area of the Gatehouse was converted into a corn drying kiln to assist with the feeding of the residents. You can see what's left of the kiln here. The diet was mainly porridge, oat bread and rough oat cakes. In the early 1300s, Urquhart saw action in the Scots struggle for independence. The castle came under the control of Robert I, more famously known as Robert the Bruce. Urquhart was the only Highland castle to hold out against the English. In the 14 and 1500s, the MacDonald clan's thirst for power saw the castle in a number of battles, passing back and forth between the clan and the crown. James IV had given the barony of Urquhart to the Grant family in 1509, requesting they restore the castle and estate. The Grants built the Grant Tower you see before you. It's a 5-storey tower house built during the 1500s. This tower would have been used as the main residence in the last century of its life. There are no detailed records on how the floors were laid out, but it would have included 1, possibly 2 eating halls, bedrooms for the immediate family, and on the top floor, more rooms for the minor members. The lower ground floor was a storeroom or cellar. The Great Hall overlooking the loch, of which only the foundations and cellars remain, was the main public feasting area of the castle between 1300 and 1500. You can get a great view of how thick the walls are through the defensive openings. A kitchen was added later attached to the grand chamber. The Watergate provides access to the loch and would have been used when travelling by water was fastest mode of transport. Today it's a stunning set of steps to walk down to the loch shoreline. Just coming into view is the Jacobite Loch Ness Cruise Tour. In our next video we'll be taking the boat out over Loch Ness in search of Nessie and sailing here to see the castle from a water perspective. It was an absolutely brilliant experience, so make sure you're subscribed and get notified when that video goes live. The final years of the castle saw it involved in the Jacobite uprising in 1689. When government troops left in 1692, they blew up the Gatehouse to prevent reoccupation. From then on, the castle decayed and became the stunning romantic ruin painted and photographed by visitors to the Highlands. In 1884, the castle came into the control of Caroline Dowager, Countess of Seafield. Upon her death, she entrusted the castle to the state in 1913. Reaching the highest point of the castle, we are rewarded with near panoramic views and a good sense of why it was built here on Strone Point. We really recommend adding this to your itinerary if you're in the area. It was a fascinating and breathtaking place to visit. Next time, join us at Fort Augustus on the Caledonian Canal and sail with us across Loch Ness back to the castle for some fantastic water views. Do give us a like if you enjoyed our tour, and we'll see you again soon.